It's a big-time win for us on a back-to-back at the end of a tough road trip, so good stuff.
We listened to our coach. There were certain things that we was looking for throughout the stretch of the game.
Indiana Fever just dropped a shocking bombshell on Caitlin Clark, proving they've finally learned to win under her influence.
Man, I think it's the next step up mentality as far as players. Our shifts keep changing. Everybody doing a different role, and so I think we all got the mentality where
they humiliated the overhyped Dallas Wings on their own upgraded turf, even with Clark sidelined.
Go down and score, get another stop, and we try to get a kill.
You like it?
While Dallas chased headlines with the Clark versus Buchers hype, Indiana's real squad completely exposed them.
Keep right away, baby. Keep her down. Bow, bow, bow.
On June 30th, 2024, Indiana Fever, the one-woman team according to the league's genius marketing, just marched into Dallas and humiliated the Wings without even needing Caitlin Clark on the floor.
Okay, right here, that's a beautiful move by Natasha. She's got great counter.
Yeah, the same Caitlin Clark the WNBA milks for every dollar, click, and headline they can squeeze out of her, was nowhere to be seen thanks to that lingering groin injury. And yet, somehow, the Fever cooked Dallas on their own turf. Imagine hyping a matchup for weeks, plastering Clark and Paige Buchers across every post, and then watching your league's carefully crafted storyline explode in your face.
Is finding ways to self-correct in game, finding ways to slow down and have a high attention to detail. We did that in the fourth quarter, and it allowed us to come away with the win.
The WNBA wanted this to be the spectacle of the season, Clark versus Buchers. The rematch of college legends now lighting it up in the pros. They thought this was their golden ticket to prove women's basketball has arrived. Well, congratulations, because the only thing that arrived was a big fat slice of humble pie for Dallas and the league. Despite Clark being sidelined, over 20,049 people still packed into the American Airlines Center, breaking the Texas women's basketball attendance record. Imagine that. People didn't just come for the overhyped narrative. They stayed for real basketball, and it wasn't Dallas providing it.
You guys, how are you guys able to keep your composure, get that momentum back, and get that lead back and take the win from tonight?
Honestly, just continue to stay composed and take it each possession at a time is something that we've been working on. And so for us, that was our focus, is get a stop.
You have to laugh at how desperate the WNBA was for this moment. They pushed the game as the can't-miss event, banking everything on Clark's name, as if the league doesn't have a shred of confidence in promoting anyone else. And what happened? Their whole overplayed storyline fell apart, and the Indiana Fever made them all look ridiculous. Aliyah Boston didn't even need to say much. Just 6 words after the game sent shockwaves through the building. Every game is a home game. Your arena, our crowd now, your narrative, shredded, your expectations, irrelevant.
Big one. I think you and Aliyah had like 8 points and 2 assists, and you were kind of working off of each other. Just, was there anything verbally said in there? Was it just kind of eye contact at this point? Or what happened?
We listened to our coach. There were certain things that we was looking for throughout the stretch of the game.
But hold on, because it gets even more pathetic for Dallas. These geniuses thought they could relocate the matchup from their usual little College Park Center to the much bigger American Airlines Center with its shiny 20,000-seat setup. They really believed they were setting the stage for a statement win.
Paige Buchers in the pros. That's why they moved the game to the AAC, the first time the Wings have ever played there.
Yeah, they sold out the arena, which a lot of NBA teams can't do, and tickets were going for $3,700.
The only statement made was how badly they choked under pressure. You'd think they would have learned after watching Indiana get obliterated 91-63 by the Los Angeles Sparks the night before. Dallas was drooling at the thought of feasting on a wounded Fever squad without Clark. But here's where their genius game plan fell apart faster than their reputation.
Caitlin Clark not playing tonight against the Dallas Wings at a very packed and rowdy American Airlines Center here in Dallas. And it really is a bummer.
Their entire defense plan? Shut down Kelsey Mitchell and the Fever crumbles. That's all they had. Zero backup plan. It's honestly hilarious how predictable, shallow, and outdated Dallas looked once the game tipped off. Enter Ari McDonald. First start of the season. No one saw her coming, especially not Dallas, who looked like they forgot scouting reports were a thing. McDonald stormed the court with energy they couldn't match, going a perfect 100% from the field in the first quarter alone. She dismantled Dallas's laughable defense like it was light work.
For 40 minutes, but on the second half of a back-to-back, sometimes that's to be expected. I think we did a great job of weathering the storm, and then in that fourth quarter, particularly in that moment when they went up one.
Let's be real. Dallas's coach and roster underestimated Indiana to the point of delusion. They saw Clark was out and assumed they could coast to victory. Newsflash, that's not how this works. They looked slow, disorganized, and flat out unprepared, and honestly, it was comedy gold. Imagine upgrading arenas for the big stage only to get outplayed by the so-called underdogs missing their superstar. You can't write this stuff.
I feel a disappointment for them more than anything because, you want them to see her at her best and us at our best. I hate that for fans.
Now, credit where it's due. Indiana's game plan was nothing short of a masterclass. They came out firing, hitting 7 straight shots to start the game. 7. That's how you silence a crowd and remind the WNBA this team isn't just the Caitlin Clark show. The spacing, the screening, everything clicked perfectly. For once, the Fever's offense didn't look like a broken mess when Clark wasn't directing traffic. Aliyah Boston finally got the paint dominance she's been begging for all season, and let me tell you, she did not waste the opportunity.
Making sure that we're prioritizing her long-term health and wellness. It's anybody who's had some of these types of injuries understand that sometimes it's a process. She's a quick healer, and she's been doing everything that she can to get back on the floor. So, we just want to make sure that we're.
Boston was unstoppable, dropping 21 points, going 9 for 14 from the field, and hitting every single free throw like it was target practice. This is the same player the league barely promotes while they drool over Clark. But yeah, sure, tell me more about how Indiana can't function without her. Meanwhile, Paige Bueckers tried to save Dallas with a monster performance. 27 points, 5 assists, a flawless stat line even making WNBA history, and they still couldn't close the gap. Dallas fumbled the bag, plain and simple.
And this is what happens. They get in transition and finish.
The easy 2 on the pass from Natasha. Great pass to Alyssa Smith. Charles can't finish.
Even when Indiana's 20-point lead started slipping, they didn't fall apart like the WNBA was probably hoping to broadcast. They stayed calm, composed, flipped the tired Clarkless collapse storyline on its head, and left Dallas scrambling for answers. It's honestly painful watching a team so overhyped crumble under their own marketing circus. But hey, at least the Wings got to enjoy their shiny new arena while the Fever danced all over their egos.
The Wings are only 2 of 14. Howard lobs it inside Boston, and Maisha Hines-Allen got lost.
Here's where it gets even funnier. Despite the league's laughable one-dimensional hype machine crashing and burning, fans still packed the arena. Over 20,049 people filled the American Airlines Center, breaking the Texas women's basketball attendance record, without even a guarantee Clark would play.
Yes, sure, they are disappointed that they are not going to see Caitlin Clark play, but that is really not putting a damper on the electric atmosphere out here. The general consensus, they are just grateful to be witnessing this amazing time in women's sports.
Imagine that. People actually showed up for the game itself, for the team, for the love of basketball, not just for the league's tired, forced narrative. You'd think that would open some eyes in the WNBA's executive offices, but nah. They stayed laser-focused on chasing viral clicks and ignoring what really builds fan loyalty.
Clark has 3.4 million followers on Instagram, Becker's 2.7 million. Yeah, this was supposed to be an epic night, one of the most expensive WNBA games in history, just to get in the door about $250 on the resale market.
And Dallas? Don't even get me started on that mess. They were clearly overwhelmed by the crowd, the expectations, the spotlight the league forced on them. It's almost like the Wings believed their own hype. But when the lights came on and the fans turned up, they crumbled like a cheap folding chair. Their defense was non-existent in the first quarter, letting Indiana shoot the lights out while they stood around looking confused. It was embarrassing, not just for Dallas, but for the whole league. They spent weeks building up this grand stage, and when the moment came, it turned into a Fever showcase.
Caitlin's a huge part of that, but all the women that came before, it's awesome to see.
Speaking of which, Indiana's traveling fans completely flipped the script. Everywhere you looked, Fever jerseys were out in full force, drowning out the so-called home crowd. You could hear the cheers getting louder every time Indiana made a big play. This was supposed to be Dallas's big moment, their statement game in their shiny upgraded arena. Instead, it became yet another reminder of how badly the WNBA miscalculates true fan support. The Fever fans owned the building, turning Dallas's overhyped stage into their own personal victory party.
I think the biggest thing for us is our attention to detail in our screening. We've got to be great screeners. We got to make sure we slow down and use our screen and our spacing. We've had some games where our spacing has been poor.
But let's talk about the real reason Dallas got exposed: Kelsey Mitchell and Aliyah Boston. Mitchell absolutely torched the Wings, dropping a season-high 32 points, dishing out 7 assists, and hitting 11 of 17 shots like it was child's play. She didn't just fill in for Clark, she took over the whole operation. Late in the game, when Dallas tried to claw their way back, Mitchell slammed the door shut with ice-cold precision. Her court awareness, her poise, her shot selection, all of it screamed leader. She became the offensive engine Indiana needed, and Dallas had no answers.
And that has not allowed Kelsey to get downhill, and it hasn't allowed space for Aliyah to get going either. So I think that the two most important things for us right now offensively.
Meanwhile, Boston's inside dominance was the glue keeping the Fever together when things got shaky. She controlled the boards, grabbed crucial rebounds, and made defensive stops every time Dallas thought they had a chance. You could see the frustration building on the Wings' faces as Boston kept forcing them into bad possessions and locking down the paint. Every time Dallas tried to switch it up, they ran into the same wall, Indiana's new core showing up big when it mattered most. Let me know in the comments if you think the WNBA can survive without milking Caitlin Clark, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.